Okay, let's not no break any sweat and let's start directly from the middle. Hi, I'm Yasmin. The weather is currently on vacation and rightfully so. Uh, and it is my job to try and fill in for him. And what I decided to do today is to go hunting for the best or the I'm going to go with least annoying distribution for Linux for desktop, because nowadays everybody thinks, or every the new distribution claims to be the best desktop Linux distribution there ever were, the best user experience, the best user everything, and so on. So I decided to go and try with 4 different distributions, and I'm going to go and install 3 of them. The fourth is already installed. And the thing that I'm doing right now is that I have it installed, this elementary OS version 12 point whatever it is, the latest version currently as I'm filming this. And the thing is that I have run into the first problem, which was to be expected, but I wanted to check if this thing can be fixed without me having to do too much stuff and having to do too much work. So the problem that I'm having right now is that the configuration that I'm using, or the default configuration, has the wrong settings for the resolution of the screen. So I'm running everything in VMware Workstation here, and the thing is that some of the distributions are able to actually go and talk to the VMware host and are able to understand what the resolution of the actual screen is. And then what then happens is that the resolution of the desktop of the distribution that is installed is then basically made the same as the resolution of the window. So I would expect when I move the window or when I do something with the window for the resolution of the screen to follow me. Now, in elementary, this doesn't happen, although it could. So I'm just trying to see what do I need to install to make this thing happen, or is it actually possible to use this? Because this is just an edge case. If you are using Linux as a primary distribution, you probably wouldn't want to do this. But on the other hand, it would be a nice thing to have on a thing that is claiming to be extremely user-friendly and one of the best user-friendly distributions out there. So I obviously need something to be installed. So since this thing is based on Ubuntu, let me just check this thing. Scan factory is low DP, so okay. So this thing is based on Ubuntu. So what I'm expecting is that I'm going to have to install something akin to OpenVM tools and the rest of it. So I'm going to just blindly try to do it. So I'm just going to blindly go and install OpenVM tools and open VM tools desktop. Do I want to continue? Yes, I do. Let's see if this is going to help. Okay, it changed my window, but then when I move the window, yes, it fixed the problem. So 1-0 for us. So elementary comes out default installed without the OpenVM tools, and in order for the machine to talk to the hypervisor, so the host that is running the operating system, it is going to have a problem because it doesn't have the tools installed. But as soon as it has installed the tools, it was completely capable of actually moving the resolution to the right resolution for this that I was trying to do. So from my perspective, this is completely fine. It requires just one single step to fix, and otherwise it's a pretty thing to do. But before we go and pay more attention to the beauty that is Elementary OS, which I must say has a beautiful desktop. It has a nice installation. It has a sleek desktop. It looks nice. And I wanted to point out a few things here. I just wanted to install the remaining 3 competitors that we're going to be using today. So I'm going to go with creating new VMs. And I'm going to say that I'm going to do a new virtual machine. I'm going to create a new virtual machine that is going to be called, you cannot see this because I'm grabbing just my desktop, but you'll see the installation the screen as soon as possible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and first install Linux Mint, which is going to be the other one. And I'm going to go in with installing Linux Mint Cinnamon Edition. So the most commonly installed. I'm going to go with, this is the latest version of the Ubuntu. So let's call it like this. And it's funny to see that the capturing in the OBS works in such a way that you can see that I'm clicking on something, but you cannot see what I'm clicking on. So this is Ubuntu. This is going to be called Linux Mint. And I'm going to be putting this machine on my other disk because I want to save the primary disk for some of the things. So, okay, Linux Mint. Okay, next, I'm going to go with the default and it should appear. Okay, so this is Linux Mint. Let's go and power this thing up and see how this installation is going to go through. And I expect, and I fully expect, that this thing is going to be pretty much the same as it is with the Elementary, because both Mint and Elementary come from the same base release or the same base Debian. So this is more or less the same idea of the installation that I'm expecting. So now the installation is going to be different between these distributions, but I'm not expecting too many differences. While this is installing, I'm going to talk about what my idea today is. A couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he wanted to actually install Linux on his desktop because he was interested in finding out what was the best looking Linux distribution, for the simple reason of actually wanting to have a nice looking operating system on his laptop. He wasn't aiming for the most useful. He was looking for the nicest looking because more or less he had a laptop to spare. He bought an old or oldish Linux ThinkPad, and he wanted to make it look as nice as possible, and he wanted to make it look as close to macOS as possible. So his idea was basically that he's going to install macOS first. Then he realized that this is completely impossible, or it is possible, but the results may vary. So he wanted to install something with that is going to be a Linux distribution. So then I decided to try and see which one of those are currently available, and this got me going into the direction of let's make an episode out of it. So when you first boot Linux Mint, it does a quick boot and it installs into the live environment. So Linux Mint that we are seeing right now is not installed. This is just a live environment that is booted up. I'm just going to click on the Linux Mint icon, and it should give me the ability or the option to install the Mint. I'm going to go with the English. I'm going to go with English UK. I'm going to say that I'm going to install multimedia codecs because they're always useful. I'm more or less going to go with all the defaults that are there, pointing out when things are different. But this is basically the only thing that I'm going to change. Now, since I'm running on virtual machines, I can do this. I can erase the disk, install Linux Mint. Please, if you are doing this on a physical machine, please make sure that you are erasing and using the correct disk, because you are going to lose data otherwise. So make sure that you know what you're doing, and make sure that you know that you are using the right disk. When dealing with virtual machines, it's much easier because virtual machines themselves have their own part of the disk, or basically a huge file containing the disk. So you can be sure that you're not going to be losing anything. But if you're doing anything on the physical hardware, please make sure that you are using the right disk. Having said that, I'm just going to go with install now. It's going to go and warn me that I'm going to use the information on my primary disk, which is fine. This is a virtual machine. Then I'm going to press continue. It decided I'm in Zagreb, which is true. Going to continue. I'm going to use the same username, Jasmine. I'm going to go with the same password, which is going to be demo. It's going to warn me that it's going to be weak, but I don't care. And I'm going to log in automatically. So I'm creating a very user level desktop. I'm not going to bother with any security. I'm not going to be bothering with anything related to different things that may differ from the defaults what a normal user would do. Now, Linux Mint looks nice. Compared to Elementary, it is much more trying to look like what Windows is looking right now, or what Windows is looking right now if you move your start menu to the left instead of being in the middle. We are going to, while this is installing, we can go and see in the Elementary that the Elementary OS itself is trying to do the same thing that I mentioned. It's trying to be as close to macOS as possible. So it has the dock here. The dock does not behave the same way that macOS dock behaves. This is the one thing, and the other thing is that you can actually have the regular applications and all the icons here, and this is just part of the desktop. So the desktops are different. I must say that I don't have any preference when it comes to these things. These are some of the advertisements that pay for Mint to be available. So I'm going to go with yes. Netflix, YouTube, and browsing the web can be here. These are subtle, so this is fine. The thing is that all the distributions that we're going to test today are basically trying to push one idea, and this is that your computer is right now basically content. It's basically intended to consume content, so it's a content consumer machine. It's no longer intended to be something that you are going to be using to create. It's going to be something that you're going to be using to listen to music, to watch videos, to participate in forums, talk to your friends on Discord, maybe play a little bit, because there are games for Windows, for Linux, sorry. There is a Proton database that can enable you to do the compatibility, so you can actually start some games on Linux that would otherwise start. So the idea here is that we are slowly moving towards content consuming, and we are not trying to sell Linux as a content creation machine. On the other hand, Windows was never trying to do this. Windows never tried to say, okay, you're going to be the creative one. The only operating system that we were working on that was always screaming at us, be creative, was macOS. So I'm completely fine with this thing. So managing photos, looking at movies and so on. This installer here is pretty much a run-of-the-mill installer that I would expect to have. Now, compared to Elementary, there is only one thing that I want to mention. When you are installing Elementary in the virtual machine, you are going to get a warning. Elementary OS is actually able to see that it is running in a virtual machine, and it is going to warn you that the experience is going to be different. It doesn't matter too much to us right now, because A, we are not running any games, so we don't have the need for any advanced 3D 3D emulation or any advanced configuration that requires your 3D graphics. So we don't mind that we are using graphics that is inside the window, and we are just testing things. So we are going to use a little bit of RAM. I'm going to go with whatever is the default. So right now this thing is running. Let me see. Let me check this. And this thing is right now running on manage. Let's just check and wait for this thing to start. Come on. I finished installing. Okay. And now let's see what we have here. Settings. So my machine is right now running on 2 processors and 4 gigabytes of memory. And this is the quite fine with the experience that I'm expecting. If you are running on a regular computer, you would probably get much better experience, because Linux is usually much quicker when it comes to running on older hardware, which also makes it much more responsive when it runs on newer hardware with more memory. Okay, so welcome to Linux Mint. Let's go. Make yourself at home. Create the automatic system snapshots, so basically automatic backups. And the idea is that you can restore your computer to its previous working state. This is the same thing that is called system restore in Windows. So the idea is that daily, either daily or on every boot, you are going to be performing a snapshot. So this is going to be, okay, let me call them a demo. It is going to say, I want to create a snapshot. It's going to estimate how large the snapshot is going to be. And this enables you to create a snapshot of your machine. And it says daily. I'm going to keep 5 of them. I'm not going to say or have it mail me the information about this. What is going to be snapshotted, and then finish. And this is going to be the time shift, or the basically snapshotting or backup system that is going to be run. This thing actually makes sense. You get used to it, and it is doing pretty much the same thing that the system restore is doing, or similar thing. Also, this pretty much the same thing that the time capsule does in the macOS. So it basically creates a sort of kind of backup of your machine, so you can restore to the previous state. Okay. Having said that, let me run this in the background. I'm going to also show you some other thing that it reminds you of. You can change the colors of your desktop. So the default is pretty dark, so you can go with the mixed dark or light desktop. It's called Minty, but there is a Mint L, Mint X. Let's say that I want to go with Mint X, and it is going to look a little bit different. Minty looks like this, and Minty L looks like this. So basically, light, mixed, and dark. Also, you can choose contrasting colors or the basic colors that are going to be used on your desktop. This is the main thing. It's usually a green. So I'm just going to go with this. My snapshot has been created in the background, so it doesn't take long. And I can close this thing. Now, the driver manager is something that is interesting if you are using some of the cards that are proprietary. For example, if you're using NVIDIA cards, the drivers that are inside the open source community are not the drivers that are the newest, because NVIDIA has its own drivers, but they're not open sourced. So you need to actually tell your Linux distribution that you want to use not open source drivers. The update manager is going to be reminding you from time to time that you need to update. There's this thing here. And if you want to be on the latest version of Mint, you just need to make sure that you are running the updates. You just say, okay, I want these kinds of updates. That's it, basically. It is going to give you the apply the update, and then it's going to apply the update to the updater, and then to the whole system. And what this does is more or less it just runs upgrade in the background, and you can just say, okay, I want to install updates, and more or less forget about this thing. So it always asks me to authenticate, and I can see what is going to get updated. It is going to download how many packages, 136 whatever packages there are, and it's going to use the internet to do so, and then it's going to just update the system in the background. There is also software manager here. This software manager looks nice, or to be more precise, all three software managers that we're going to, or four that we're going to see today, look pretty much the same. The thing is that okay, we're going to be having problems because we are going to be low on disk space. So I'm going to cancel the updates in order to be able to finish these things. Okay, I'm just going to ignore it. So there is a lot of software that you can download. The software managers in different distributions have come a long way. So they are going to recommend pretty much the most useful applications. We are going to see some differences between these, but I must say that both in Elementary OS and the Linux Mint, this thing is pretty nice. The only thing that I also want to show you is that your menu is not up here on the left, it's down there on the right, and everything is here grouped by whatever you need to do. And the thing that I want to see just is how is it possible that I have my virtual machine in such a way that I already managed to use more than 18 gigabytes of storage. So let me just quickly go what is happening here and why is this thing so big. Is it possible that the time shift, yes, the time shift itself took 7.7 gigabytes. So my backup actually took a quarter of my disk. Anyways, you can see that there are different things that you can do. These are different settings, different applications that you can use. I must say that for example, this usage analyzer is something that I would like to see in Linux, in Windows, and I would like to see it being done properly, because this looks nice, it is fast, it enables you to quickly drill down to whatever is the problem, what is the biggest thing that is being using your disk. So things like this are just easier to use. They make operating system easier to use. Now let's do the another one. Let's go with new virtual machine, and you are going to have to believe me that I'm going to be installing another window before you see it. The next one that I'm going to be going for is going to be PopOS. Reason being is that PopOS is done by System 76, and it is being marketed as one of the most user-friendly, but also one of the most developer-friendly operating systems, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to help developers get paid for what they do. So you're going to see that the software distribution part of it enables you to donate to developers directly. It's just a thing, but it's a nice thing, because after all, behind everything that we do, there is money. We just want to make some sort of money, usually. So the idea that we are just running or just we are using something without paying anybody is fine, as long as we are aware that what we are doing is going to cost somebody money and time to create. And it would be nice to be able to, from time to time, both realize this thing and try to make up for what the people are doing. Now, you probably noticed that when I switched to Linux Mint, it automatically saw my resolution of my window. Elementary had to be convinced by installing OpenVM tools. Let's see how PopOS does it. Now we are waiting for the graphical interface to come up. And I must say that this is one of those things that is actually different. So the graphical interface looks nice. It behaves nice. It's going to ask me what it can do, what is going to be the language. I'm going to go with English, United States, English US, default English language. I'm going to go with clean install. I'm going to say, once again, it is going to erase everything on the disk. So this is a virtual disk. This is fine. It is going to ask me which disk I'm going to work on. It is asking me for my name. It is going to ask me for my password. Okay. I'm going to go without drive encryption. So I'm going to don't encrypt, and I'm going to let it finish the installation. Now, as you can see, here we are in a hybrid situation. The system itself is working, so we are in the live environment, but the installation process has already been started for us. So when in elementary, you are going to be installing the system directly. When in Mint, you need to click on the desktop icon, and you need to actually tell it, okay, I want to install. In PopOS, you are in a live Linux system, which you can use, but the installation system is going to be started for you, and it is going to be running for you whenever you first install it. So it is exactly fast and doing the things that it needs to do. Also, system updates are available to install. From my perspective, this doesn't make any sense. I haven't installed my operating system. I downloaded the latest version of PopOS from their site. So I downloaded all 4 different Windows, different distributions today. There is no reason for this system to try to update while in live distribution, because this would only apply to the live distribution itself. So it doesn't make any sense for the distribution itself to update the live portion and then install something that is going to be updating later. So this one may be okay, but I wouldn't consider this the best thing for the user, or the most logical thing for the user. Okay, so let's finish the installation. It's going to be doing this thing on its own. And while this thing is doing its thing, let me just open the 4th machine. And let me go with the Fort Linux that I want to install. And this one is going to be a little bit controversial, because it always is. Because what I wanted to try and what I wanted to show is the Deepin Linux. Now, Deepin is also known as Chinese Linux because it was created in China, and people have mixed ideas of, is this thing for real? Should I use something that is created in China, and so on? My perspective is that I don't care where the Linux is created. I'm not going to go and say, okay, just because it was created in a country A, it is going to be a problem. Because, to be completely honest, you have absolutely zero idea where each application has been created, as long as you use it. So usually the thing that is going to happen is that you are going to be using whatever application is for whatever it was created in, and you are not going to care about the country of origin. Okay, let me go and continue still setting up, restart the device for the Pop! OS, and see it restart. And then I'm going to switch to my Deepin window, which hasn't started yet, and I'm going to power on this thing. So while the Pop! OS is installing and going through its first iteration, or let's wait for it because it's going to be quick. A few words about the way these things are designed. So Pop! OS is meant to be part of the System76 Linux offering, because they also offer the hardware and the software. So you can buy the laptops from them, you can buy servers from them, you can get the Pop! OS from them, and you can then use the operating system, and it is tailored to be more or less similar or the same as the rest of their offerings. So I'm going to say that I want my dock to be extend to the edges or not extend to the edges. So let's go with this one. Let's go next. Let's say next. Let's say applications, gestures. These are different things that you can actually say. So the light and the dark theme, privacy, time zone. It is not trying to set it automatically, so I'm going to go with Zagreb. So Zagreb, next. I'm not going to install my online accounts, and that's it. Now it makes sense to update, because now I actually have some reason for updating, because I'm going to update the application that I have here. Note one thing. When dealing with elementary, it has the applications here. And these are more or less the same applications that we have here. When dealing with Mint, I have my applications down there. Menu, and then the applications. When Pop! OS is active, if I try to open it to the big window, first, it doesn't understand the resolution, the same as what elementary hasn't done. And I have workspaces and applications here. So the elementary looks more or less the same as Pop! OS, but it adds these workspaces to enable you to have different sets of workspaces, so different sets of windows that you can use at the same time. You may like it, you may not like it, but these are just some of the things that you can actually do. So let me just quickly become an administrator, hopefully using the right, and then apt install, open VM tools, and open VM tools desktop. Yes. Let's get it running and let's see if this thing is going to follow my resolution. Yes, it is. So now we are on the same grounds. We are on the same settings as elementary. So elementary is in the full screen, Linux Mint is in full screen, Pop! OS is the full screen. From my perspective, Linux Mint is the best one right now because it already installed the necessary drivers, so I can actually use it inside my virtual machine. As I said, it may or may not make any sense when you're dealing with hardware, because on hardware, this is going to detect the hardware itself, so it is probably going to be completely fine. But when I'm running in virtual machine, I would like my operating system to understand this, especially if the operating system itself is going to warn me that the operating system that I'm installing is installed in the virtual machine, and then install the appropriate drivers. Okay, so the fourth one, the Deepin. Let me power it up. It's also going to it is going to use the beeper for some reason. I'm going to go with install with kernel with the kernel 6.12 desktop, so the latest version, and let me check the installer to start. Now we have seen the third option, or second option basically. Both elementary, Linux Mint and Pop! OS start installation in a live mode and then offered to install. Okay, Pop! OS didn't ask us anything. He just said, okay, I'm going to install this thing. You could theoretically stop it, but that's not it. Deepin offered us to try the installation, so to try the live mode, or to install it. Now, it offers, since it is a Chinese distribution, it is going to default to Chinese. So unless you know Mandarin, go with the English language. It says it needs more disk space to install the operating system. Let me quickly just edit the machine settings here and give it more space on the hard drive, because it doesn't actually make any sense, but okay, let's go. Okay, so let's restart. Now from the start, as it says, the thing is that it requires more disk space than the rest of those. I was fine with defaults that were using 20 gigabytes each. This one is requiring 45. I gave it 50. So we'll see what's going to happen. Let me try to open it a little bit. Now, as I said, Deepin is a little bit controversial. I'm completely fine with it. On the other hand, Deepin is also a little bit heavy on the usage side. While trying it out, I have noticed that it tends to be a little slower than the other distributions. Okay, full disk. I want to have my full disk system. Default. Okay, I'm going to go and can I go up? Can I say 24? No. Can I do anything other than this? No. Okay, other distributions. I cannot move this thing. Okay, so let's say the defaults. To install this operating system, the operating system partition requires 64 gigabytes of disk space. So we have started with using saying that it needs 45. Now it needs 64. So what I can do is I can say custom and I'm going to go with this thing, and then I'm going to say format the disk, yes. Let me try to save the installation. But I must say that from my perspective right now, I am not happy with what I'm seeing. Now it requires 52 gigabytes of for system installation. So this is not what I would like to see in a user-friendly configuration. Okay, caveat is I'm installing on virtual machine. I may or may not be installing this on the regular computer by using the whole disk. So I would probably have enough disk space to install this thing, but this is more or less ridiculous. It was asking me for 45, 58, 64 or 52 gigabytes, depending on who was asking. So let's say that I want to see, I just want to see how this thing is going to work. So what I'm going to go and I'm going to stop this thing. I'm going to exit. I'm going to stop the machine. And I'm going to resize the image of the disk to be smaller. Bigger. So let me just see how much free size do I have. Expand. Let me see if I can expand this to 100. Yes. Okay. Let's restart the settings. Okay. Let me know if you in the comments if I made a mistake, because I haven't installed Deepin for a couple of years, and I must say that this is the prettiest distribution that I have ever seen from the perspective of the user, but the quirkiest one. And I think that the reason why it is quirky and it looks quirky is the completely different outlook that stems from this distribution being created in China. I think that the paradigm that we are using for the operating systems is a little bit different when it comes to people who are designing these things in China. I'm not saying that this is a problem. I'm just saying that this is a thing that it is different. So, okay, now I can drag and say, okay, I have 71 gigabytes for okay, would this be enough? Yes. Start installation. Yes. Amazing. Okay, so it says that you can seamlessly run. You can seamlessly run Debian Ubuntu Arch and other multi-system environments. It can run on Long Arch, RISC-V, and ARM64. Long Arch being the architecture that is Chinese, so Chinese CPUs. It has a completely different desktop experience than all the other Linuxes that we are going to be seeing today. And I think that when it comes to installation, when it comes to or using it, it's a whole different beast than any other Linux that I have seen, which is interesting. The reason why I think that this Deepin itself is important is because it is trying to not only be different, but also act differently and also help you work differently. So it is trying to implement AI features in it. It is trying to be created in such a way that it has a different partition for system and data by default, which can be done and should be done in any Linux anyways, but it's not something that all the others are defaulting to. It has its own Windows manager. It's called Treeland. And it's trying to integrate everything into a modern operating system. So if I would hazard a guess, and if I would say what I would like to see if I didn't have Windows existing, I would probably go with something like Deepin. I'm not saying that I like the idea of China being behind it, because as soon as it mentions that it is able to do the AI, the first question that I have is who is going to handle the data. But the thing is that when it comes to modern infrastructure and when it comes to looking modern, Deepin is probably the best. Now, while we are waiting for this thing to install, I'm going to go back to Elementary and walk you through a couple of things. Elementary has its own shop. It's called AppCenter, and you're going to see that the things that you can actually install here are different things that you can install in your operating system. And the idea of this thing is that you can actually quickly get up to speed with the things that you need, and you can install them using the App Center and then upgrade your operating system. Now, the thing that I want you to notice here is that it is not pushing for any of the applications like Mint was. So Mint was mentioning Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and so on. This one is pushing for open source applications. It is calling them as they're called. So you probably don't even know any of these things. You need to go through the configuration here and you can see which were the recently updated applications. And then you can go and click on, for example, I don't know, communications. And then you're going to see some of the applications that make sense, some that are alternatives to whatever is right now on the market. So, for example, Discord is not Discord, but Descent, which is a native, a tiny native Discord app. Also, there are paid apps. So there are apps that you can actually go and click on, and you can pay for it. It is made for, or it is supposed to be made for Elementary. But the idea was that you can actually buy it and support its features. The thing is that you're going to see that as with any other open source project, this is going to be a problem. You're going to be noticing applications that are going to be paid applications that at the same time are going to be applications that are requiring you to do some things or that are outdated because nobody's using them anymore and so on and so on. But most of the applications are free. Now, let's go to the Pop OS, which is installed. Let me open my Pop OS. And let me open the Pop Shop, as it is called. So basically the same thing that we have in the Elementary OS. And as you can see, it looks the same. It is also pushing the applications that you probably need. It has this part, for example, communications. And then you can see, let me just wait for it. It's a little bit slower. And this was to be expected. Elementary has a little bit more memory available to it. So there is Descent here, there is Jamie, and so on and so on and so on. So you can see different applications here and you can actually install them. Of course, let's say that I want to install something like a Revolt. It looks like this. This is a user-friendly, user-first messaging platform. Basically, a combination of all the messaging platforms at the same time. If I go and install it, it's just going to install. There is nothing else to say about it. The thing is that I dislike apps like this because this is done by using Electron, which you can see by when you check the size of the application is 1.1 gigabyte. So it means that basically it installs the entirety of the browser with it. But let's find something smaller, like Let me go and see. I'm probably in the wrong thing, but so is alpaca going to be okay? Normal conversation in AI models. So the idea is to for you to be able to use different models and different chatbots, different AIs or LLMs at the same time. So you can actually create an image in one using one AI, and then do something with the image using another AI. So the idea is to try to integrate all the existing models into one thing. Installing is easy. Open it is easy. So I just pressed open. It's going to take a little bit of time because it is slow. And then I'm not going to be able to use it because I chose the thing that I'm not prepared to. I don't have the keys to the models. So I would need to now go and install local AI. And also I would need to install the keys to APIs if I'm going to use APIs. So I'm going to not go to use this thing. Now, let me go back to Deepin. Hopefully it's done. Let's reboot. Okay, it says Deepin community. And let's open the window. Okay. The same thing that as with all the others, it requires me to do the username and password. It says quick login instead of be logged in. Okay. Keyboard is English. Time zone is Beijing, which is not. I'm going to go with Zagreb. Come on. It doesn't even have Zagreb. Okay. Let's call it Vienna. I am now being annoyed a little bit, but anyways. Next. This looks like very much like what Windows 11 is doing. So it was asking me for login information, and then now it's configuring my computer, whatever that may be. And I must say that the entirety of the installation actually looks like Windows 11. So, PopOS looking like something that is the closest to being Linux while trying to emulate some things from the macOS. Elementary, trying to look like macOS, also mentioning Linux a little bit, and trying to be user friendly. I must say that from the perspective of the superficial user, this one looks the best for me. Although Mint has its own merits because it looks nice, and PopOS is, from my perspective, hard to differ from what is in the so it's hard to distinct from elementary OS. Now let's go with what is Deepin logged in. Yes, demo. Okay, we have the installation done. We have the startup guide. It's going to go with desktop mode. I'm going to align center or align left. So basically, do I want this thing to look like Windows 11 or Windows 10? I'm going to align it to left. I can go and enter the App Store, which I'm not going to do right now. I'm just going to get started and wait for it to load. Because I want to show you a couple of things that this operating system has on its side. And yes, do expect a lot of Chinese inside it. Also, one thing that I would like to mention is that since this is mechanically translated, let's be kind. A VirtualBox, you always feel through even in VirtualBox. I don't need this kind of content, to be completely honest. Okay, so you can sign in. There are updates here. This is the categories of the software that I could use. For example, we were talking about communication, so let me go with chat. Applications actually down here. You can see there is a lot of them. Some of them completely unknown to us. Some of them completely fine. So Discord is here, but also Taobao is here. Taobao being, I would go and say, probably an order of magnitude bigger than Discord itself. But anyways, the thing that is interesting is the control center. The design of everything here is done in such a way that I think that this is one of the best looking operating systems there are. When it comes to dealing with icons, when it comes to dealing with things on the screen and dealing with, I don't know, sounds, dealing with network, configuring network, it just basically looks the best. I must say that the older version looked even better. The older version had a dock on the right side, and this dock looked better than anything else on any Linux that I have ever seen. But I'm going to go with yes, this one. When you take a look at it, actually looks the best and feels the best. Also, it enables you to configure everything, and it is the most thought out from all the different machines. Also, it looks the most like Windows, because if you see, there is a taskbar here. There is a taskbar. There is a application bar here. There is a start menu here, which is not called the start menu but a launchpad. It has the frequently used things. It has the settings here. It has the power. So basically, this is Windows redesigned. If you asked me which one I liked the most, it would probably be the Deepin. If you ask me which one what would be the second best for me, it would either be Elementary or Linux Mint. I don't like the look and feel of Pop! OS, and I don't actually know why. Linux Mint for me is calming and easy and clean. Elementary also, but in a macOS way. Deepin is a little bit more crowded, but it's the one that is most likely to look like Windows 11. And also, if I had to guess, it would be the one that is the easiest to use if you have never used a computer, because almost everything that you know about the computers, so for example, file manager, it is going to look like Windows, but it's going to be completely unlike Windows. So using this thing is going to be easy for you, even if you take a look at something that is going to be let's call it a cheat sheet or a cookbook for Windows, because if it says place on the desktop, double click on your computer and then do something, or find your disk and then go to the disk, it is going to be something that's familiar to you. Of course, that Linux does not have two disks, but these are partitions, and these partitions are mounted as disks in order to make sure that whoever is using the computer has the disks separate, so that it thinks that it looks like Windows. So when it comes to all of this, Deepin is probably the one that is the most thought out. Also, as we have seen, the least user-friendly when it comes to installing. Elementary Linux Mint and Pop! OS installed without any problems. And in the next episode, I'm going to go through much more detail and try to talk you through all the different features. But until now, thank you for being with us, and see you next week.